Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Pint Time with Backpacker Mike. I'm going to be trying this Cigar City Cideries Golden English Dry Cider. Comes in at 6.9% on the Richter scale. I really enjoy Cigar City Cidery. I've actually been there. It is in downtown Ybor, which is part of Tampa. It used to be the cigar capital of the world. It used to have a huge Cuban population in it back in the day as well. But this is dry, tart, fruit forward, English style cider is made for the Florida heat, refreshing and proper crushable. So, Cigar City is out of, this is Cigar City, me in Largo, Florida, produced and bottled by Cigar City and Mead in Largo, Florida. But their cidery is right there in Ybor. So, excuse me, I'm coughing. But let's get into that in a second. But first, let's get back into episode 250 about Krakow, Poland, because Krakow, Poland was an amazing city. And next week, I will be live with my friend John, who is also another traveler who is going to Krakow and also Auschwitz next week. I'm going to get his live thoughts on Krakow on my Facebook. He will be live exclusively on Facebook. So if you're not following me on Facebook, just go to Facebook, search Backpacker Mike. You will find me, and we will go from there. But let's get back into Krakow. I've talked about some things that you want to see while you're in Krakow. Now let's talk about cost of accommodations and food and etc. Accommodation, hostel dorms, which is what I stayed in a lot. Hostel dorms are like 4 to 6 to 8 to 10 beds, sometimes more, just depends on where you're at. But hostel dorms, 45 to 65 PLN, or about $10 to $15 US a night. Pretty inexpensive. Hostel private rooms, 150 PLN, or about $36 a night. Still very inexpensive. Budget hotels, which is what I stayed in when I was in Krakow because it was a good price. It included free breakfast, Wi-Fi, and all that type of stuff. That was 200 to 220 PLN, or about $48 to $52. I believe I spent $45 to $50 a night, and I had free breakfast every morning. And the breakfast included like meat and pastries and yogurts and all kinds of stuff. So it wasn't like just some cheap, sort of bread breakfast. Airbnb private rooms. This is where you rent a room from somebody who is already living there. More often than not, it includes a breakfast. It could be a normal breakfast. It could be a fruit breakfast. It could be, a pastry type breakfast or bread breakfast. But anyway, those are about 110 to 220 PLN, or about 26 to $52 US. And if you're looking to rent a private room on an Airbnb and it's looking at $52, don't even bother, because you can get a private room in a hostel for cheaper. You can get a private room in a budget hotel for just as much or cheaper. So if you hit that threshold on Airbnb private rooms, don't even bother. If it's around the $26 to $35 range, then you might be interested. Airbnb apartments, where you rent like the entire place, 250 PLN is about 60 US dollars a night. But there you can go to the market, you can go to the local market, buy food, and you can make 75% of the food that you eat there and save a ton of money. You can also camp while you're in Krakow in Poland. That will cost you about 40 PLN, or about $10 a night. Now let's talk about food. Street food, 5 to 6 PLN, or $1.20 to $1.45. Here you're going to get like pierogies, pastries, pre-made sandwiches, things like that. Pre-made sandwiches, $6 to $12 PLN, or $1.45 to $3 US. Sit-down restaurants, depending on what type of sit-down restaurant you go to, sit-down restaurants are 35 to 90 PLN, or about $9 to $22 US. Takeout, 15 to 30 PLN, which is the Polish money, or $4 to $8 US. Takeout, think like Chinese or something like that. fast food, McDonald's or whatever. They have McDonald's there, and they have all kinds of different fast foods there. But say a McDonald's there will cost you about 25 PLN or about $6 for a meal. Beer, 13 PLN or about $3 per beer. So it depends on what type of beer you get, obviously, but $3 per beer is a pretty good deal. Wine is 1 PLN less, so 12 PLN or just under $3. All right, and one more thing is the Krakow suggested budgets. The backpacker budget is 155 PLN per day or about $38 per day, which is about average when you're traveling through Europe. Stay in a hostel. You can, with this budget, you can stay in a hostel dorm, cook meals, limit your drinking, take public transportation, do cheap and free activities like walking tours and free museums. Also, a mid-range budget is about 350 PLN per day or about $84 per day, which is, I would travel somewhere in between the two. You could stay at a private Airbnb or a hostel room. You'll be able to eat out for all of your meals at cheap milk bars and enjoy a couple drinks and do more paid activities like Auschwitz, the salt mine, Huawei Castle, etc., etc. All right, let's get into this Golden English Dry Cider by Cigar City Cidery in, well, it says they're in Largo, but I know that there's a cidery right there in Ybor. Smells delicious. Here we go. Cheers, pro, slancha, and skull for my Nordic friends. You know who you are. Very light on the flavor, slightly bitter. It's a little dry. However, I wouldn't say it's like an extremely dry cider like a Cidre, a Stella Cidre. But let's go ahead and pour what we got left in here, and you can kind of see what it's all about. Pretty clear, like a champagne of ciders. Very good on the hard pour. I would say if you're into ciders and you don't really like the sweet ciders, this is obviously a less sweet cider. Not as dry as a normal English dry cider that I've had before in the past when I traveled through Europe, but it is still a very good cider and I would highly recommend it. I'm going to go an 8.5 on this Golden English cider by Cigar City Cidery out of Ybor City or Largo, Florida, whichever. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me on Pint Time with Backpacker Mike. And if you know anybody who's into travel and craft beers, I'm the guy they need to follow. So you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, I don't know, TikTok here, wherever. Just Google me. Google Backpacker Mike. I'm all over the first page. Anyway, thank you guys so much. I truly appreciate it. As always, peace, love. And let's continue to experience this beautiful world together. I'll see you guys next time on Pint Time with Backpacker Mike. Peace.